Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I just read this?
Yeah, changes. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Are there any changes to the agenda?
I do have a few, so we're gonna pull 2.2. Our firefighter of the year couldn't be here tonight, so we'll wait and give him his award at the next council meeting. If council agrees for item 5.6, which is the annual review of the council code of conduct, Mayor Horn is not here, and that was the item he requested to be brought back every January, so if we can just postpone it until the next meeting when he's present. And then item 5.9, the contract with Gimme Love, they said that they're still reviewing the contract with their attorney and they're not ready to sign it, so we'll have to move that to a future meeting.
Council? I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilman Vosberg,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Councilman Hedgecock,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez,
Aye. Awards and presentations, we got just one.
Good evening, council, staff, and the community. I'm proud to announce the Coalinga Police Department Officer of the Year for 2023 is Officer Juan Navarrete. And as I read his bio, Juan, if you could come up this way. Officer Juan Navarrete has been with the Coalinga Police Department since August of 2022 and has been a welcomed addition to the department. Officer Navarrete comes to us from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, where he worked as a deputy for a short period of time. Officer Navarrete is currently assigned to the West Hills College as the campus officer. While his main responsibility is the safety of the college, Officer Navarrete also helps with patrol and investigations throughout the city on his scheduled days off. Officer Navarrete is always willing to assist when needed and is proactive with his investigations. Officer Navarrete is courteous and professional with everybody he encounters and is well respected by his colleague. Congratulations, Officer Juan Navarrete.
Thank you, sir.
I do have a certificate here from City Manager, and it says here, 2023 Police Officer of the Year. In recognition of your high standards and continuing excellence in serving and protecting and to the outstanding contribution you give every day to the entire community. Awarded to Officer Juan Navarrete.
Thank you, sir.
You
Appreciate
want
it.
to say a few words?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just say a couple words.
So I'm not much of a public speaker, so I will definitely do my best. I just want to thank the city of Coalinga, and I want to thank the Coalinga Police Department for acknowledging the work that we do on a day-to-day basis. It's long hours, exhausting, but by the end of the day, we just want to make the community safer, and we want to have a relationship with those who live in the community. So therefore, I thank you all for acknowledging not only myself, but my peers and our department as a whole, because together it wouldn't be possible, you know. We back each other up, and we respect each other, and we help each other when we need it. So thank you all.
Now move on to city comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, we recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lithium and identify themselves and use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state opening meeting laws. No action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for follow-up and report. All right. Citizen comments?
Evening, Council. Scott Netherton, Kalinga Chamber. As most of you know, because I've been bugging the Dickens out of you for the last few months, we have our annual Community Service Awards dinner coming up in 2 weeks on the first Saturday in February. I'm grateful that you all will be there and supporting us and supporting those that we'll be recognizing that day. We'll be having our live auction, silent auction, raffle baskets, and live entertainment and after party afterwards, so we're adding some new things this year. On the first weekend in March as well is our Mardi Gras. It'll be a one-day event this year, and then we have a new one coming up in April that I'll be bringing information to you about as well before Derby. So just want to thank you all for your support, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Scott. Anybody else? Okay, if there are no more, any comments, we'll move on. What, any changes to, any items?
We have no public hearing,
Yeah, we got no public hearing,
and then 13 items. on consent.
and we got 13 items in the consent calendar. Yeah, okay. We'd like to make a motion, right?
Yeah, unless anybody wants to pull anything.
Anybody wants to pull nothing?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as written. With the changes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Vosberg,
Aye.
Councilman Schindler,
Aye.
Councilman Hedgecock,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez,
I vote aye. We'll move forward with, section C, ordinance presentations. Oh, with the changes.
No, you're good. So we just have 6.1.
Yeah, we just got 6.1, ordinance presentation, discuss potential actions, items. John Boo.
Start presenting from my desk. All right, thanks, Mayor and Council. Tonight, staff's provided some information regarding a future agenda item requested by Councilman Vosberg related to potential ordinance language change related to setback requirements for accessory structures, specifically structures that are small enough that are basically don't require a building permit. So Section 9-5-101 of the Plan and Zoning Code regulates the placement, height, size, and setbacks for accessory structures. And per code, an accessory structure shall be secondary to a primary use and shall be allowed only in conjunction with the principal use or building in which it relates to under the same regulations as the main use in the zoning district. It was requested by Councilman Vosberg to look at the current regulations and determine if there's some reasonable changes to the code that would allow the placement of particular accessory structures within the existing setbacks when placed in the rear yard of properties. In terms of, like, for setbacks, I provide a little bit of a summary of what the setbacks are for accessory structures specifically. And basically, it's when located in the rear 1/3 of the lot, detached accessory buildings or structures should not be located closer than 5 feet from any rear property line. In the instance where a rear property line is adjacent to an alley right away, the accessory building shall be no closer than 1 foot from such property line. And then detached accessory buildings shall meet all other setback requirements, so those would be side yard and distance between buildings to the main building. Staff did provide some possible changes, but I wanted to let the council discuss it. Nathan, if you wanted to, or Councilman Bosberg, if you'd like to provide some information, and staff can provide you some other options that might be appropriate.
Yeah, so just looking for units that do not require a permit, so they would be under the 120 square feet. And because we already have alleyways set at 1 foot, we have a lot of properties that are backed up against main streets, and I've figured that this would be consistent with that if we did the 1 foot for those that were next to, like, for instance, a backyard, and it has a main street rolling through it, and they don't have anyone behind them. It would make sense that this, in my personal opinion, would just be consistent. That was really it.
Okay. And that's definitely something we can do. We can revise the language if it's interested in just properties that are adjacent to any kind of like roadway. So we'd make sure that was, so if the property lines abutted each other, they'd still maintain that 5 feet separation. Is that correct?
Well, to me, what we set the code at and what people follow are two separate things. Because we can go around town and we can see lots of people who have just put them right back up against somebody else's property line, and by the time they go up, it's over with, and the city doesn't get a chance to get out there and say anything. And so part of my thinking is that, depending on what the council thinks, if we would remove and set that at 1 foot on each side as well, that could be another option, because people are already building them like that, and it doesn't seem that there's a equal ability to enforce this. And then when you have a bunch of them that are grandfathered in, so then people see them and say, oh, well, they put it in like that, so I should be able to put that in too. And from what I understand, these rules, obviously somebody had a reason for putting them in, but unless there was a public safety issue or a privacy issue, then I just put it up for council to discuss. My main thing was that if there is nothing behind them except for a street, it would make sense to allow that to happen on the back side with the 1 foot distance. But it is up for discussion. So if council wanted to weigh in on if we could put them up, with a 1 foot barrier or 2 foot barrier next to the side as well, because in certain instances, from what I've seen, not a lot of, for the 10 by 12, there's some yards that don't, if you use the 5 foot and the 5 foot, there's no room for them to put one up. And so I've, just put it up for a council discussion, see what council thinks.
I'm curious what the rule was put in place for in the first place.
Typically, it's for fire protection, fire separation for structures. So if you have two structures too close to each other, you can have transfer of, if you have a fire. But a lot of times for like accessory structures, allowing that reduced setback is typically, that risk is typically reduced to the main building when it's like when it talks about like the back 1/3 of the lot. So typically on your side yards, when you're right adjacent to a house, that can pose a little bit more of an issue. But when you're in the back part of the lot, the most transfer you're going to get potentially is if accessory structure catches fire, it's going to transfer to it could potentially transfer to the neighbors if you're within 2 feet of each other, right? So typically setbacks are designed for that, just for fire separation. And Chief wants to add anything else, I'm not going to put him on the spot, but they typically that's why they typically like to see that. Fire code has separation requirements, the building code has separation requirements, and then you also have zoning requirements as well. So, and sometimes they're more stringent in zoning, sometimes they're more stringent in the building code.
So I can understand, why you would confine that to the back side. And maybe we could change it to, if you put it in the back part of the lot that's within a certain distance of a residence, that could be, and then it wouldn't apply to is that possible to do that?
Yeah, the code currently says when located in the rear 1/3 of the lot now. And you still have separation requirements for accessory structures from the main building. So when a structure is not connected to the main building, it's considered accessory. If it is attached to the main building, it's actually part of the main building, which then would be required to meet the setbacks of the main building. So like your rear yards, front yards, side yards.
So I think when we discussed this between me and you, that was why that I didn't ask for any kind of setback on the sides, because it was already built into that for that backside, and just asking that we change it to 1 foot from
The rear yards.
The rear, if council would be agreeable to that.
Yeah, and there wouldn't be another structure on the other side of that. Correct.
So it'd be just basically what Councilman Bosberg's saying is that basically we would allow similar instances as we do for alleys, to extend those to anywhere where it's open to a space where you're not going to see structures. So it's probably open space, or you have, I don't even know if you want to extend that to park space, roads, anything that's going to be open that you're not going to be adjacent to other structures directly next to it.
I'd be okay with making it, as you stated, just as long as there's not any structures or obstructions in between point A and point B on the backside.
Okay.
That would make sense, and it would add consistency.
Yeah, it'd be basically areas where they would be assumed that there would be no structures in those areas. Yeah.
So we don't need a motion or a vote, we just need a direction from the council, so it looks like at least the three of you are good with bringing back that language?
Yeah, we'll initiate a zoning text amendment and we'll process that through.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna move on to announcements, 7.1.
I have none. Sorry, I do have one. The first Tuesday of each month at 9 a.m. at Cafe 101, we have the Chiefs Breakfast, so I think that's February 6th is the next one. And our participation is generally pretty low from community members, so if anybody's interested in attending, it's a great opportunity to have breakfast with myself and the police chief and fire chief. Usually the commander from the CHP office is there, and the warden from Pleasant Valley State Prison, so you get to ask any questions that you have from those agencies.
Thank you. Council? I got none, actually just one, just want to recognize the Officer of the Year. Thank you, and thank you, Chief, for getting them going. It's looking great. I'm hearing positive things about the police department, especially in the school. It's really nice to see our town, everybody going out, walking their dogs and stuff like that, and feel safety. So thank you.
So, sorry, I do have an item, just an announcement. I'd just like to encourage everyone to shop local. We have a lot of businesses that are struggling right now. I know minimum wage has gone up. It has literally crippled some of our small businesses. And it's not just Coalinga, statewide. You have fast food industry that is wanting to go to 20. You have, hospitals and whatnot that are wanting to go to 25, and then you have the minimum wage increase as well. And that really can, even if the small business is not required to pay, minimum wage to their employees because they don't have the amount, they still suffer the effects on the products that they have to purchase to make their business run. So I would just really encourage people, if they can, to buy local. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any future agendas? No? I got one. I would like to see if we could get our chief, Highway Patrol commander, see if we could get a workshop going with the kids and kind of give them some knowledge about safety, about riding their bikes around. I'm seeing a lot of them ride their bikes in the middle of the street when there's upcoming crop. Be a good idea. We could get local bike riders to come out and view the laws, what can we do and everything. And I know the Highway Patrol usually has a helmet and safety yearly thing. So I would like to get with the Highway Patrol and the chief and get a workshop going, see if we could get people out here. Other than that, I got, that's it.
I think when we were kids, they called it a bike rodeo.
Yeah. No, the future. No, okay. All right, we'll move on. Closed session, we got one item. And, anything else?